What's good, y'all? It's your girl Imani P from the DMV. You already know where I'm at. You already know where I'm be. Welcome to my channel, imaniversus, where I talk about music, culture, and more. Today we're gonna do I guess it's a longer thing, but it's Imani versus MTV because I'm tired of watching Ridiculousness all day for the last like 10 years of my life. Like, there's other shows out there, and what the fuck happened to y'all? Okay, let's get started. And if you haven't already, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to this video. Make sure you share this video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you check out my Spotify playlist at imaniversus, and check out my music blog, which is coolnightgang.blog. All the stuff is linked in the description below. Okay, so for those of you who do not know, and like once again, like y'all should know what MTV is, but I did my research because, you know, MTV is an American cable channel that launched in the 80s. It's also known as music television. It's so easy, right? And the channel originally aired music videos, related programming as a guided television personalities called video jockeys. Basically like your La-Las and your Sway in the mornings, you know, like those were video jockeys. So yeah, that's just basically what MTV is. I've been watching MTV since I was a little ass kid. Like, I love music. I still very much do love music. I just feel like right now me and music are just having a hard time in our relationship. I want to just tackle two things on MTV that I don't like. I want to talk about their color barrier that they had going on back in the 80s. And I want to talk about their television programming they have now and what they can do, okay? So the color barrier is just basically MTV being... So back in the day, like when your parents were like our age, you know, I'm 121. But when your parents were like 21, 22, you know, all that stuff. MTV was having a real issue with showing people that were this color on there and not people that were that color right there. Yeah, I know.
Oh, fuck.
There were very few black artists on MTV, and the few that would be seen was like Michael Jackson, Sade, Prince, Eddie Grant, Tina Turner, Janet Jackson, and like a few more. So like everybody kind of noticed that only like very few black artists were like shown on MTV in regard to the music videos, and the other black artists would be like, yo, like why are our music videos being shown? Like, do we offend? Does our breath stink? Is it our ugly? Like, what is it, MTV?
Excuse me, sir. I hope my horrible ugliness won't be a distraction to you.
So, this is around the time Rick James' Super Freak came out. That song, she's a super freak. You know. So, the music video Super Freak was rejected by Carolyn B. Baker, who was the head of the talent acquisition at MTV. And she was also a black woman. So this is like where it gets kind of like weird to me as to why she did this. So she didn't like the video because the black women in the video were half naked. Okay, so that's understandable. But you know, the other videos the women be half naked too. And they be, you know, this color. But you know, I guess it don't matter, right? And I understand where Carolyn B. Baker was coming from with that. Like, you know, you don't want to portray your own women that way. But I feel like in this situation, which is really hard when it comes to duality as like a black person and being a woman, I feel like things are a little bit bigger than you, and it would have been pretty like cool to see like a more hip-hop crowd when it came to black music being on MTV. But I do not agree with Rick James portraying black women in that way. You know, I like my black women being clothed too, if they want to be clothed. You know, some black women don't want to be clothed, and I'm here for that too, because sometimes I don't want to be clothed either. The issue just became so big, and people started talking more about why there aren't that many like black artists being shown on MTV at the time, even to the point where David Bowie even asked on air in an interview with BJ Mark Goodman in 1983.
Watched MTV over the last few months. That it's a solid enterprise and it's got a lot going for it. I'm just floored by the fact that there's so few black artists featured on it. Why is that?
I think that we're trying to move in that direction. We want to play artists that seem to be doing music that fits into what we want to play for MTV. The company is thinking in terms of narrow casting.
That's evident. It's evident in the fact that the only few black artists that one does see are on about 2:30 in the morning or to around 6. Very few are featured predominantly during the day.
No.
He was shook because he couldn't answer the question. Fun fact, MTV was first created to play only rock music, and one of the reasons why there wasn't a lot of black artists was because there weren't a lot of black artists making rock music, which I would like to say that's not true. There are a lot of black artists that do rock music. They're just not very popular, and that would have been a great way for MTV to portray that, but they decided not to because, you know, they are. Anyway, so this was like a whole big movement. Their excuses were terrible. Like, just say that you weren't showing it because you do not really mess with people that are not the skin tone that you prefer. And even years later, the MTV senior executive vice president, Les Garland, complained, saying the worst thing about this BS, there were hardly any videos being made by black artists. And record companies weren't funding them because they knew that MTV would like not show them, which is not true. I feel like all these things, you know, it was the 80s, but all these things are even said now when it comes to like the generation now, like pointing out things that different networks do or different TV shows are doing. They just always have these weird excuses where it's like, we don't see that stuff. They aren't doing that. And it's like, it is there and you're not looking, and you have interns, you have assistants, even your own damn job to look up this stuff and be hip with the times, but you choose not to. You know why? Because you're racist. It was just a lot of gaslighting at the time, and we experience a lot of gaslighting now, but it was just like really blatant because these are like quotables that were in articles that were on TV. And if you don't know what gaslighting is, it's the act of manipulating a person by forcing them to question their feelings, their memories, and events that occurred. So for you to say that there weren't no black artists making music videos, and eventually in 1984, the color barrier was broken with Michael Jackson's song Beat It. And it just gradually started being played on MTV's rotation, as well as other black artists like Donna Summer and Lionel Richie and more. So yeah, that was just like a really, really quick, condensed, like main reason why I don't really mess with MTV. And even like they still were participating in that type of like activity up until like even when I was a kid, like in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. I didn't really see much, you know, people my color on there. You know, MTV's beginnings were from rock music and were from being just very ignorant and very not inclusive. And you know, they've gotten let up better now, but I feel like nowadays my issue with MTV is the fact that they have strayed away from being music television to the point that I think they should change the name of the freaking network. Since 2010, I feel like MTV's programming has been very like, it's giving like how Netflix is nowadays with their TV shows, with their original programming. It's giving that, like, there's not much thought behind it. It's not like super relatable to me, and the acting's always terrible. And it's kind of like, where are the music videos? Where are the TRL type shows? Like, they literally show Rob Dyrdek's like Ridiculousness all freaking day now. I remember they used to really show like Fantasy Factory and then Ridiculousness all day. And I remember they had that show Awkward. I know a lot of people like the show Awkward. I did not like that show. They had Teen Wolf. I didn't like that show. Like, it's just like, what happened to the music? What happened to like showing people like what new artist is dropping, like their new single? Like, what happened to that? And I understand the surges of like music videos at the time weren't that good, but like, why did you stray away from what you were doing originally? Like, literally. And you know what's so funny? I did try to watch these shows. I tried to watch Awkward. I tried to watch Teen Wolf, Ridiculousness, Fantasy Factory, Silent Library, and it's just like the stuff wasn't entertaining. Like, Rob Dyrdek's like Ridiculousness is not funny. Like, the videos are not funny on there. So like, suggestions for MTV, like, okay, let's get back to being music television. So they could do, you know, showing music videos, like MTV AM or MTV FM, like how they were doing, or PM, like how they were doing when I was a little bit younger. There's like just no special like interviews, there's no special deep dives, there's no documentaries on like artists, there's no like special like talk shows, no special like performances like MTV Unplugged. They don't even do that anymore. And I know people nowadays are craving stuff like that because talent is so scarce in a lot of these artists. And two, like people want to get to know their artists a lot better than what they see on Twitter and Instagram. I miss MTV Unplugged. They can really bring that back and put Doja Cat on that shit. Like NPR is basically like MTV Unplugged, and NPR is like killing the game. And I understand cable is dying and stuff, but NPR is on YouTube. They can literally do like what they did with MTV Unplugged and just put it on streaming apps or even put it on their YouTube channel, and people will love it. And people will watch it. People are craving stuff like that. But MTV is such a buzz and they're so disappointing. And I just wanted to talk about how like MTV was like very prejudiced, and you know how like nowadays like they don't even show like real programming. Like what is going on? Anyway, I want to thank you all for watching, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and make sure you comment below if you have anything to say about MTV in regard to their programming nowadays and just how they used to treat, you know, black artists back in the 80s. And I will see y'all real soon because I'm that girl. See ya.